Mentioned this word earlier, and this is a profound word that I've been hearing over and over again. It's a word called taste. So I think Mark Andreessen actually just said VCs will never be replaced because they have taste. And the job is taste, psychology, and chaos tolerance. So what exactly is taste, and how do you define it how do you identify it for founders?
So I think when I think about taste, like I'm reminded of this Steve Jobs kind of mantra that aesthetics are much more than aesthetics. And what he means by that is that the way things look implies so much more than just like what you see. And I think taste kind of bleeds into that in the sense that like with founders, you kind of have these different dimensions of taste that I think are really, really important and the great ones tend to possess, right? Like first you have this sense of like aesthetic taste, which is like the way things look. You have this sense of consistency. So how to apply that aesthetic across every touch point that any stakeholder in the world is going to have with your company. So how things look online, how things look in person, how things look in your product, how the people that represent your company look and come off to others. And I think being able to like gel that together into something cohesive is really, really hard to get right, but also really profoundly important if you do. There's also product taste, which is like, how do I anticipate the needs of my customers and give them what they want in my product before they're really telling me they want it, or in some cases that they don't even know that they want. So that's another example. And then there's also this example of like, how do you make really complicated things simple, that I think is another indicator of really high taste. And I think that the founders that are able to do those four things really well are, in my opinion, high taste founders and people that I really strive to work with. And I understand it sounds a bit elitist to keep throwing this term taste around, so I'm trying to explain it in a more precise way, but I can tell you that like, my partners and I and other venture investors and I, we often have this conversation about that's a high taste company. And I think it's a high taste company when you see those four dimensions, when you see mastery along those four dimensions in the founders and also the team. That's where it starts to get really interesting, is if they can push that taste down to their team so that it carries on as the company gets bigger and remains consistent. That can be really, really powerful. It just attracts more resources. It attracts better talent. Customers are more intrigued by and respect what you're doing more. And so all that to say, taste matters.
Inversely, how can founders determine taste in investors?
I think the simple answer is the companies they choose to work with, the people they choose to work with, and what those people say about them, which is are these people that understand my mission, understand my vision, and have been instrumental in helping me move it forward. I think that is a high taste investor.